Good afternoon, good evening, good night, and welcome to Throwbacks, where we talk all things cool and retro. Today we are stepping way outside the norm of cool and maybe retro too. So we're going to unbox a good chunk of the Twilight action figures from NECA. I think I'm missing like 4 figures, but hey, here we go. This is what we got. So we're going to unbox them. Obviously, just by looking at them, the articulation isn't all that great, so it won't be too in-depth on that. But maybe I'll tell a little personal story as to why this particular line of action figures and franchise itself is interesting to me. So let's get all these things unboxed, and then we will have a look at them and talk about them. This one's going to be hard because it's a Toys R Us one. I don't want to open it, but I got to open it. Let them breathe. Let's go. Alright, here we go. So we're going to start from the beginning. That is Twilight. These are 2 figures I already had. I'm not sure, I haven't really seen any other figures from the original Twilight film, but these are from NECA. These are from like, let's see, the movie came out in 08 sometime. So the figures I think came out in 08, 09, and then obviously as the films progressed, they came out, etc., etc. But these are very basic, but simplistic but well done. Articulation is minimal on almost all these. These have elbows and shoulders, and that is it. These things do not stand, so be aware of that. You are going to need a kind of a stand. The Ringside Collectibles WWE Mattel stands that are available only at Ringside Collectibles that just came back in stock will work for these, at least for these 2 so far. I have not been able to check, but we'll check as we go. So we're just going to kind of plow through here. Like I said, the articulation is the articulation, but these are basically kind of statues, so when you're not really worried about articulation too much, and having a good company like NECA with good sculptors, you are able to do a very good job. And I think, especially with this Bella, I think they really killed her face, the hair, her jacket, just her whole entire look is pretty spot on. I think Edward all the way through the hair. I think just the glasses I think they couldn't get his face too awful good, which I think you're going to see as we go on that was a continuing theme throughout this. Was Edward's face was kind of a iffy thing. So let's just keep on trucking. Let's go. Alright, moving on to Series 2, we've got another Edward, and this time we've got Alice. I do believe also in the New Moon line, which was the second movie, you do get a Jasper as well. I have not been able to grab a Jasper. It's on the list. Just trying to find one for a decent price is not the easiest. So here we go with Alice, who I think has a pretty good face sculpt on her. Good, I mean, that's the thing with these, the sculpts and everything are gonna be great. So with this, you do lose the elbow and you do lose the shoulder articulation, I believe. Let me just pull it out here and check. Nope, there is some articulation. So on her, there is some. We do keep that articulation. We just do not have elbows. So we have elbows and wrists this time. So that's worth noting. And then we got Edward, who, again, you'll start to notice the face issues are just a little, does not really scream Robert Pattinson. I think the hair is pretty close, and obviously the whole entire outfit is pretty squared away. So on these, I'll just kind of plow through the last 4. There's one special thing about this last one, but some people might say to themselves, hey, why does a guy dig Twilight or even want action figures of Twilight when he collects things like Star Wars and wrestling and things like that. And the simple answer would be, well, just because I like the movies and I enjoy the books. But how did I ever come to enjoy the books and the movies? Well, that's an interesting one, and we'll get to that. So the interesting about this one is we've got sparklies. I don't know if you can tell, but if you see right there on his chest, he's got sparkles. Now, in the movie, if you've seen it, you'll find out that he has sparkles. When he has sparkles, geez, it sounds crazy. But when he goes out into the sun, instead of turning into flames like vampires of the past, he kind of sparkles. I think this is the best face sculpt of Edward that we've gotten. But this scene is also absolutely ridiculous in the movie, and I will stand by that. But, good details on the shirt being ripped and disheveled there, and the pants and the boots. So, pretty good on Edward. But yeah, so in 2008, I was in the Army and deployed to a place overseas and spent a year over there doing the things you do when you're deployed over there for a year. Well, funny enough, somehow we as our military police platoon got a hold of, whether it was from somebody sending it to their boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever, we got a hold of the books and found out this is really popular and it's in all the magazines and blah 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 blah. So we said, okay, so somebody started reading it. We got all 4 of the books. So somebody started reading them. And then next thing you know, it's like, man, these are really good. Everybody's talking about how good they are. So everybody starts talking about how good they are. Then they start kind of getting passed around. And more people find out that they're good. Well, then the movie comes out. And everybody hears about the movie and how good the movie is. And all these things. So we obviously weren't able to see the movie because of where we were and how we were. But we were able to read the books. And it was always just this kind of funny story, or visual really, even, where we would come back off a mission, and the people that were left would be sitting in their bunks or their cots or whatever we had at the time, and we would be reading, and they would be reading, or we would be reading if they came back, the Twilight books. So you just see all these M4s, these helmets, these full-on machine guns, full armor, all that good stuff, and just, alpha-type males, and they're all just sitting around waiting for the next book and the next person to finish and reading Twilight books. So it's always just kind of a funny little thing, but it was a bonding thing for us people, and it was silly. We knew it was silly, but it was fun, and it really kept us occupied. And it kept us sane, and really just kind of gave us something to do. Well, then we were transitioning out, and when you transition out, most of the time you get to go to a really big base that's got the airplanes and stuff like that, so you can fly out, which was the case in this instance. And in this instance also, the really big base has the really big base has stores. So, alright, there we go. So, in these stores, obviously, they sell movies and things like that from back home. They have Dairy Queens, all sorts of little things like that. Obviously, they don't taste as good, but that's a whole other story. And one of my buddies knew that I really was, enjoying the books and all that stuff, and went and bought me the first movie on Blu-ray. And then after that, I was really hooked. I enjoyed the movies for what they were. And now I just kind of wanted a broader representation of that than the 2 figures I had, and that's with these. And these are the final 3 that I recently purchased, and these are from Eclipse. And you got Victoria, Jacob, my only Jacob that I've got. I guess I'm more Team Edward. So I got me a Jacob, who again these guys just do not stand. So, there you go. We're just going to take Jacob out. Jacob looks really good, too. I will eventually finish this line. I know in the Eclipse line there's another Bella. and things like that I'd like to get. But let's keep this video short and sweet for what it was supposed to be, and that is a quick overview of like a 15-year-old figure line that is the Twilight line, and a quick little story time of why I like them. So if you made it this far, I greatly appreciate it. Do us a favor and do all those cool YouTube things, the likes, the comments, the subscribes, but especially the comments. We really enjoy hearing back from you guys. And if you made it this far, then we really want to hear from you guys, because you just listened to my weird Twilight army story. So thanks for that. And for myself and the rest of Throwbacks, we're going to throw one back, and we'll see y'all later.